Starting yesterday, one after another European athlete started publicly announcing that they are leaving the East vs West promotion. Most of them are citing the same reason: Engin left, so I am leaving too. But as an arm wrestler myself and simply as a human, I don't believe that loyalty to a single person, no matter who it is a good enough reason to walk away from what is currently the biggest and best paying arm wrestling promotion out there. Especially when there are no other competitive leagues at this level. So what's actually going on here? I don't believe that all these athletes are just emotional, irrational, or that they just can't speak any English. There's clearly more to it. The East vs West organization has made it pretty clear that they believe that the biggest opportunity for growth lies within holding events in the US at the moment, partly because of better in-person ticket sales. At the end of the last pay-per-view event on Saturday, they publicly announced that the next event is going to be held in Colorado. But here's the kicker. That event was originally planned to be held in Azerbaijan, which is a small country east of Turkey and just above Iran. And many of these Eastern athletes had already started preparing for this event, believing the location to be confirmed. But they also only found out about the switch to the US while they watched the pay-per-view itself. The problem with that, most of them can't just come to the US on short notice because they won't just all get visas. So in essence, their matches were either cancelled or at the very least postponed. Now put yourself in their shoes. The organizers are shifting more events to the US, events that they most likely won't be able to attend. And that means fewer chances to compete, which directly leads to less income. Longer flights, more hassle. And unless you're a top tier name, you might just get replaced, because flying you in might not be financially worth it based on your pay-per-view draw. With Engin, they felt secure. He was seen as somebody who genuinely cared about the athletes, especially the ones that weren't major stars. He put the athletes first, he was a fan before a businessman. So from these athletes' perspective, maybe it makes sense to jump ship now, instead of just getting thrown out later. And maybe, just maybe, they've heard rumors about another ship on the horizon that is going to come and pick them up. I believe both sides, Engin and the East vs West team, only want the best for the sport. The difference is an approach. Engin wants to protect and support European athletes who might not bring in huge pay-per-view numbers, because he believes elite skill is enough to deserve a stage. Meanwhile, the East vs West organization is looking at it more from a financial point of view, seeing as most of the pay-per-view buys are coming from the USA or from Canada. For example, Engin didn't want free matches before the paid ones on the card, probably because he wanted every athlete to feel equally valued and essential to the event. Personally, I believe the right approach lies somewhere in the middle. These events would lose so much of their appeal if we stopped seeing the highest level of arm wrestling, due to a large portion of the most skilled athletes not being part of it. Even if some athletes don't individually sell a lot of pay-per-views, the stars who do would sell a lot fewer if the overall level of competition dropped. The aura and the prestige of the event would fade. At the same time, the events have to be profitable. The sport needs to grow, and that growth can't happen if we ignore the realities of revenue, scalability, marketability. So what's the path forward? Clear up any doubts that athletes might have about their future opportunities. Make sure they are properly supported and have a chance to compete regularly. Maybe come to an agreement to host every other event outside of the US to keep things in balance. Because as fans, the last thing we want is a return to split leagues. Western athletes competing only against themselves again, no one wants to see that. We've been too spoiled these last few years. Just imagine if the next big match was Monster Todd against Devon instead of Larratt, and try not to be depressed. The sport is still fragile. A fracture like this could set us back years. So to the promoters and athletes alike, please work this out. Make the necessary changes, make the necessary adjustments. Please come to the right agreements, and let's keep pushing the sport forward.